So 1 year after the horrific 7th of October attacks in Israel by Hamas, the man who is said to be the architect of the massacre has been eliminated by the IDF. The Israeli military has confirmed, saying that Hamas's top leader, Yahya Sinwar, in a military operation in Gaza was killed. After conducting DNA tests on a body to determine if it is him, Israel has confirmed his death. The military said that the 3 militants who were killed during the operations in Gaza, including Yahya Sinwar, Israel, which has vowed to kill him since the beginning of its retaliatory campaign in Gaza. Yahya Sinwar's death is a heavy blow to Hamas, as the Hamas's top leadership inside the Gaza Strip has almost been eliminated. And as far as his predecessor is concerned, Ismail Haniyeh was also assassinated in July in an apparent Israeli strike in the Iranian capital of Tehran. Now, this is being seen as a significant military and moral achievement for the IDF, coming just weeks after the killing of the Hezbollah chief Nasrallah. And even when it comes to the Israeli foreign minister has called it as a victory against the axis of evil by radical Islam that is led by organizations in Iran. Now, it remains to be seen the elimination of Yahya Sinwar would mean for the hostages and the war in Gaza. Without Hamas and without Iranian control, experts say this indeed is a momentous event with the magnitude of the killing of bin Laden.
It's as big a deal as that. He is the man, Yahya Sinwar, almost single-handedly, who planned, orchestrated the 7th of October attack on Israel. He planned for Iran and for all of Iran's long arms, meaning the proxies, Hezbollah, and the militias that Iran funds and trains in Syria and in Iraq, to join the fight and try to eliminate the state of Israel off the map. So it's a very big deal.
Now, as far as the reactions that have been coming in after Hamas's chief who has been eliminated, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has issued a statement saying that this is the beginning of the end. Netanyahu said that they will bring our hostages back. It's been over a year as far as this statement that has now been issued on the IDF eliminating Hamas's chief in Gaza, saying that this is the beginning of the end.
Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness and create a future of light and hope for all of us.
Well, that's the statement coming on part of Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israel Prime Minister. Let's take that forward to Srinjoy, who is joining us right now. Srinjoy, good morning. Ever since, as far as post 1 year, he is said to be the mastermind of the attack on part of Hamas that was carried out. As far as being one of top of Israel's most wanted list, Yahya Sinwar has now been eliminated.
Yes, it's taken Israel 53 weeks because he's been hiding. He's been using different kinds of communications. So as a result, it was difficult to catch him. But at this point, there is an opportunity, as President Biden has said, because President Biden has said that with Yahya Sinwar dead, there is a chance of peace. There is a chance of this war coming to an end. There is a chance of more casualties, more civilian casualties, more women and children dying. So let's hope there is an end to this war, because it's been going on for too long. In Gaza, with the Houthis in Yemen, in Lebanon with the Hezbollah, because this has been a very difficult time for people in the Middle East, beginning with the October 7th attack. the terrorist attack on Israel, in which about 1,200 people were killed. So this is an opportunity. But how it will happen remains to be seen, because this is a difficult time, because the 101 hostages still remain with the Hamas. Now, where they are is something that the Israelis are yet to work out. They will eventually, but the earlier the hostages are returned, the easier it will be to end the war, is what Netanyahu says. The Israelis have been supported in this case against the Hamas by the Americans. President Biden has also spoken, and now President Biden believes that this is an opportunity. Perhaps with the death of Yahya Sinwar, the war at least will come to temporary closure. But whether that optimism is actually relevant, whether it's actually right, it remains to be seen.
All right. In the meantime, as we talk about, since Yahya Sinwar is concerned, who is said to be the mastermind of the 7th of October attacks on Israel, became the chief of Hamas in August after his predecessor, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed in an explosion in Iran. We got you that statement that came in from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, now asking Hamas to release the over 100 hostages, saying that they would lay down their arms and they would be allowed to live. Let's in the meantime take you through when it comes to the footages that has now been released on part of the Israeli military. The camera drone footage, which identifies, as far as there are some graphic footages as well, saying that the last moments of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's life. This is a room which is completely wrecked. It's been destroyed. A man who is sitting in a chair, his face covered with cloth, possibly to hide his identity. This video also shows another man with a wounded hand throwing a stick at the drone, and the military there fired an additional shell at the building, causing it to collapse and killing Yahya Sinwar. This is what is coming in as a statement from the IDF, saying that Sinwar was found with a bulletproof vest, grenades and over 40,000 shells. And what is now being said as far as Yahya Sinwar, who was in prison for over 2 decades on murder charges. So there has been dental records and DNA records that has been also done to verify that this is indeed Yahya Sinwar who has now been killed. Of course, on part of Hamas, they are yet to accept or give out any statement with that regards. But what is now being said, that the top military leadership of Hamas, and even when it comes to Hezbollah, have now been killed within weeks of each other. So as far as Israel is concerned, this is the drone footage that has now been released of the very moment when Yahya Sinwar was running for his life. Let's take a look at this ground report.
Right now we are joined by the IDF soldier. They are one who are standing like a rock on the border. They are the one who are ready to take bullets on their body to ensure safety and security of their people. Their message is that we are fighting against the enemy, and the enemy is nothing but a terrorist, because they are the one who are trying to inflict casualty of the civilians. What will be your message to the enemy?
Our message is that we are fighting against terrorists and not against the people of Lebanon, okay? We don't have nothing against the people of Lebanon. We have a lot of problems with the terrorists who live in Lebanon, and we are fighting against them.
So how strong and how motivated you are while you are on border serving your homeland?
We are very motivated, and we will win in this fight.
And what we want to tell those terrorists who are hiding and targeting your civilians?
We will come for you and we will kill you.
We'll come for you, we will kill you, because we are fighting a war against the terrorists, and we will ensure that the victory is going to be theirs. They are the one who are there taking bullets on their body. They are trying to ensure safety and security of each and every citizen. I think the message is loud and clear from this IDF soldier. What we want to tell your people, not to worry.
We are strong, and we will fight, and we will win this war. Don't be worried.
They are firing rockets on the civilian areas. What do you think is the idea behind that?
Sorry?
They are firing rockets targeting the innocent civilians.
Okay, they are terrorists. They are fighting against the civilians. We are not fighting against civilians. We are warning the civilians that they need to go from where they are staying, and they are fighting against the civilians, and we will save.
Calling them as terrorists as far as the statement that has now come in from the Israeli Prime Minister himself, who is now seeking, as far as the release of hostages are concerned, for around, as far as it's been over a year now, ever since this attack that was orchestrated on part of Yahya Sinwar. Let's in the meantime talk about the US President Joe Biden, who has dialed Prime Minister Netanyahu from Air Force One, and he's congratulated him on the elimination of Yahya Sinwar. The US President was condemned the IDF for its excellent operation, as both the leaders agreed that there is an opportunity to advance the release of the hostages, and they would be working together to achieve this objective. Now, that's a development that is now coming to light as far as this conversation that has happened. And of course, when it comes to the Vice President, also has issued a statement.
I'm so pleased here now to congratulate him getting Sinwar. He had a lot of blood in his hands. American blood, Israeli blood, and others. And I told him that we were really pleased with his action. And further that now's the time to move on. Move toward a ceasefire in Gaza. Ensure that we move in the direction that we're going to be in a position to make things better for the whole world. It's time for this war to end and bring these hostages home. So that's what we're ready to do. That's what we're going to do. And I'm sending Tony Blinken to Israel. I guess he's going in 4 days. 4 or 5 days. Yeah, he's going. I talked with Stevie about that. We're going to work out what is the day after now. How do we secure Gaza and move on?
Today, Israel confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead, and justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands. Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief. Sinwar was the mastermind of October 7, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. A terrorist attack that killed 1,200 innocent people and included horrific sexual violence and more than 250 hostages taken into Gaza, including 7 Americans, living and deceased, who remain in captivity.
All right, Srinjoy, as far as the statements that have been coming in from the President and the Vice President of the United States saying that this is now an opportunity for a day after in Gaza without Hamas in power and for a political settlement that actually provides for a better future for Israelis and Palestinians alike.
The American position. America believes that with Yahya Sinwar dead, there is a possibility of and if there is a complete defeat of Hamas, and if there is a return of the hostages, then at least the violence in the Gaza area will come to an end. Now, is that going to happen is really the question. Because, yes, Yahya Sinwar is dead. It's a big victory for the Israelis. And it taught that the hostages have to be returned. There are 101 hostages still with the Hamas. Now, that has to happen. The fighting has to end. Has to happen. The fact that 40,000 people have died. Many of them are women and children in Gaza, and the fighting account. All of this has to happen. Now, how it can be done, when it can be done, remains to be seen. But nevertheless, the man who was responsible for October 7th, the man who was responsible for starting this horrific war, the man who was responsible for killing 1,200 people, including women and children, has finally been killed. It's taken the Israel 53 weeks because he was in hiding. He also was communicating with his people in a different way, but eventually his luck has run out. It's taken 53 weeks for the Israeli forces to find him, to kill him. It's a triumph of intelligence more than anything else.
Absolutely, and within weeks of each other, as we are looking at the top leadership of both Hamas and Hezbollah being eliminated on part of the operations that has been carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. We'll get you more